Hi, I'm Dan Shessel, and this is Crazy Town Banana Pants, and you're watching Off the Shelf Rants and Raves. Yeah, I'm gonna really have to work on that opener. So this week we're gonna start off with DC and a book by Jeff Johns, and that would be Aquaman number 16. Now, if you were following last week, you would know that I was reading Justice League. So this book makes complete and utter sense. If you're not reading Justice League, this book is not gonna make one lick of sense in any way, shape, or form. Because basically this is a Justice League book. So during the events of Throne of Atlantis, the Justice League has been kind of called out and they've been defeated during the Justice League book. They were dragged down to the bottom of the ocean. Cyborg is down there, up there, in the satellite. He knows what's kind of going on, and he's, giving up pretty much his last remaining bit of humanity that he can possibly give up to go and save his friends. It's really nice to see him be human and really have feelings and basically feelings towards the League and to his friends. Along with all that, Cyborg is now going down and he's gonna go and rescue his friends. And for the most part, I really am excited to see Cyborg really step out of his shell so far. He really doesn't have, he doesn't have an ongoing book, but he really is a great character. And he's been put on this team for a reason, but so far he's been really, in my opinion, underutilized. His talents are many, and he just really, I'm not sure if I really like him as an overseer kind of guy, and yet that's kind of the position that he's been kind of put in so far. So it's kind of nice to see him out in the trenches fighting alongside his friends and everybody else that's on the team. With all that said, it really is a cyborg book. This book, Aquaman, even though it says Aquaman, it really is a cyborg book. And it's a Justice League book, even though it says Aquaman on the front. Aquaman in this particular book kind of seemed like more of a weaker character in the whole grand scheme of things. Not that the story in this book is bad, because there's a really good plot twist right at the end. I'm not quite sure what was kind of going on during the end. I had to read it a couple times. The art in this book is good and bad. Not terrible and not really bad. It seems like they put a ton of effort towards the splash pages in this book and really kind of left out everything else. Not that it's terrible or horrible in any kind of shape or manner. It's just that's kind of the feeling that you get from it. As a whole, I really like this book. I really thought it was a good book. I really liked Jeff Johns. I am giving it a 4 out of 5. Again, fantastic book, really good story. So, 4 out of 5, Aquaman number 16, Throne of Atlantis. So next up, we have Flash number 16, Battle in the Speed Force. So for this book, I really like the way that Francis and Brian have kind of really teamed up to make this book what it is. And I really have to say that it's really working for them. I really enjoy the storyline that we're in. We're getting a little bit of Gorilla Grodd out here, which is really a big part of the Flash's, rogue gallery here. But the part that I really enjoy is the part with Barry and Iris. We haven't seen much of Iris lately, and that's mainly because she's stuck up in the Speed Force somewhere. So anyways, I like the book. That's it. That's all I can really say about it. It's a good read. You know, if you like Gorilla Grodd and you like The Flash, I don't understand why you wouldn't be reading this book. It is a good book. It is a good read. I would recommend it to pretty much anybody, just because it's such an easy book to get into. And it doesn't take much for you to kind of figure out and get kind of caught up and start running with this book. No? I'm excited to see the ending of this book kind of come to fruition a little bit more and kind of flesh that one out a little more. I really like this book. I can't say how much or why I like it. It's just one of those books where everything works and everything flows together and everything just works. It's a good story. It's crazy good art. I love it. I am a huge fan of The Flash right now, and I'm going to give this book a 5 out of 5 because, you know, out of a whole, this book, you know, Flash number 16, it's a good book, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really having fun with The Flash. So that was Flash number 16, Battle in the Speed Force. Okay, so our next book is Talon number 4. I want to say that I am a fan of Talon, and I'm a fan of Calvin. I'm not a fan of the guy that he hangs around with at the moment. That guy is super, super creepy. I don't like him. I don't know why you have to draw a good guy so freaking creepy. It doesn't make any sense, but he could be bad guy. Really? Did anyone else think about that? Huh? No? Yeah? No? It is actually a fantastic book. I really am enjoying seeing Calvin, you know, develop as a character and really start to create his own rogue gallery, so to speak. But it really does look like this is gonna be his next big rogue to deal with, right? Like, I'm excited. I'm excited to actually see more of Calvin. And in this book, he's talking about, you know, going back to Gotham, and it's kind of good so far that he hasn't been in Gotham that much. But I really am enjoying seeing Calvin on his own, or with you know, a whole nother set of people that we don't read about so far in these books, outside of, you know, his book. Basically, I kind of like him just sticking in his little corner for right now and developing, and then moving into Gotham and, you know, taking on the court head on more. I'm really enjoying this book. I'm also going to give this book a 4 out of 5. And it's mainly because of the creepy dude inside. And we'll get on to the next book. So now we're going to move out of the world of DC and into the world of Marvel. Now, we are going to start off this week with Superior Spider-Man number 2. And if you're one of those people who were so pissed off at Brand New Day and then kind of came back and then read about the whole Doc Ock mind swapping thing, and that was it for you, and you just threw your hands up and walked away and said, you know what, this is enough, I've had it, this is, you know, you fooled me once, shame on me, fooled me twice, shame on me. Is that how? Here's the thing, it's a good book, alright? I'm going to say that flat out, it is a good book. So for the story this week, Spidey Ock is really just trying to, you know, get with Mary Jane. He's got kind of the memories, and he knows, you know, hey, this is what Peter Parker wanted, and you know what, I'm a superior Spider-Man, and I'm better in every single way that Peter Parker ever was. It is really about him trying to be superior in every single way. You know, there's things that he does that really is just because he is bound and determined to be better than Peter Parker ever was. And I really like that about this story. The other thing I really enjoy about the story is the fact that there's Peter Parker right over his shoulder, you know, criticizing him about everything he does, about every single line he makes. He's got the mentality still of the villain, right? And it really comes through in a lot of his dialogues, even though it's a very much a lower key. His mindset is still about winning, and it's still about being better than, you know, everybody else out there, period. So it's really good to see, you know, Peter Parker, you know, kind of ground the story out and really give it a good, you know, humor, and it really gives a good laugh off to the side. And even though he's not really, you know, forcing Doc Ock into doing anything, he's really just there to watch over, and it's a good indication of being in that seat where you have no control over anything that's going on, and just watching it happen. And the commentary is absolutely hilarious to read. So I really enjoyed the story that's packed into this book, and it is just amazing what he's doing. Dan Slott is fantastic at making sure that this book is a really good book. Doc Ock is a very much a creepier Peter Parker. That's a weird one to say. When Doc Ock is Peter Parker and not the Spider-Man half, when he's Peter Parker, and the dude freaks me out, alright? I really like the art in here. The scenes with Spider-Man web slinging, and they got the Spider-Man ghost right behind him. I mean, there's parts in this book where it is really good. I'll tell you right now, rest your, you know, weary heads. Dan Slott does a fantastic job here, and he does a really good job at being very delicate with this whole situation. This whole thing was eventually gonna kind of come up. It's good. Number 2, let's get it out of the way, then let's move on. All right. So for this week, I'm giving this one a 5 out of 5. It's a fantastic book, really good read. I really enjoyed the art. So that was Superior Spider-Man number 2 from Marvel. There was no title on that one. It's just Superior Spider-Man. For my final book this week, it is going to be Hawkeye number 7. This is the big Hurricane Sandy relief book. All right. This is the one where all the proceeds go to the Hurricane Sandy Relief Fund. How do I say this in the best way possible? Matt Fraction can't do anything wrong. He can sit there and, you know, take a dump and pop out a fantastic book. I don't know how the guy is doing it, but once again, he blows my mind. This is an awesome, fantastic book from start to finish. Really good book. This is really a 2-part book, and the first part is mostly about Hawkeye. Well, it's all about Hawkeye and him helping his neighbor, and the second half is all about Kate Bishop going to a wedding. As a whole, it is a really good book, tastefully done, funny as all get out, and the art in the first half is fantastic. The second half, it wavers just a bit, but it really starts picking up the pace again, and then, you know, it's pretty good. I really enjoyed both halves separately and equally as a whole. I really must say, I really like the way this book is played. Here's my biggest thing about Hawkeye number 7 here. There's not much for action, and yet Matt Fraction can still pull off a good book, and that is a good comic book writer right there.
he knows how to write comics. And you know, last week he got my pick of the week. I'm giving it the Hawkeye the pick of the week this week as well. Really good book. Really love it. Really solid. Superior Spider-Man was my number 2. I really wanted to give it the pick of the week because I really did enjoy that book. But Hawkeye is definitely worth going to check out. I don't want to, you know, wreck a whole lot of this story, but I mean it is a good book, fantastic read. Go pick it up. It's well worth the $3 that it is on the stands. All right. So that was Hawkeye number 7, Hurricane Sandy relief. So that is it for this week's reviews. Thank you guys so much for all, you know, the views last week. We are, you know, as you can tell from this week, we are trying to improve the show and trying to, you know, make things a little bit better. You remember, you guys can always find me at Wisdom360 on Twitter. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate your comments. Keep them coming. And that's it for this week, and I'll see you guys on the next one.